So today we will discuss about one new property of material, that liquid, not material, liquid or gases. And before that, just let us think some about some observations what we have in our daily life. So during the flow of a liquid in any diagram given in book or general water tube. So this is that water tube, and if that flow is steady state, then the flow is liquid coming out from this tube. This is looking like that. The front part of this, and this is shown in different in books also. And here, what is being observed? The velocity of this central part of this liquid, if this is v, this is more than the velocity of the other neighboring part, which is away from the center one. So if this is v, and this one is v prime, and this one is v double prime, and this is v triple prime. So this v triple prime, this is always less than v double prime, it is always less than v prime, and it is always less than. Means when we just move from the center of this flow of water inside this tube, then the velocity of this liquid, this decreases when we just move towards that boundary. Or if this is that water level, this is that bottom of that river, and the water is flowing over this with laminar velocity in a streamline velocity, then what is the observation? If this is that layers, upper layer, then if this velocity is v, and when we move from this upper level to the bottom of that river or from any canal, then this velocity v is decreasing. So this is decreasing. Why it is decreasing? Because we think this water, it is moving in form of different layers. So this is the central layer, this is the center part, this is the next layer, this is the next layer, this is the next layer. So this is moving with in layers, and one layer of that liquid, it is trying to pull that second layer in the opposite direction. So one can say these layers are relatively in motion. There is one relative motion, just like in a solid. In solid we have also think about such a phenomena. If this is that that table, one block is here, and this is one force is applied along this, then one relative motion is in between that table and that block. And if there is one relative motion, one force, it is being applied by this surface on that block because of that rough part of that surface, and that surface is known as friction force, and that force is known as friction force. So this friction force is opposing the motion of that block on the table. Similar frictional force, it is assumed, it is observed in the case of this motion, that's a relative motion between the layers of liquid. In the central part, this is one layer, upper part and lower part, this is another layer, and there is a relative motion between these different layers, and that these relative motions actually trying to oppose the motion of that liquid. And that force which is trying to oppose this relative motion, this is known as viscous force. So this is the new force introducing in this particular chapter, that is the viscous force. This is the force, this is the force between two successive layers of liquid, which opposes the motion of relative motion of these layers. Okay, So this is that force which just opposes the relative motion of two layers between the liquid, and one can compare. This is similar to friction force between two rigid surface of body in relative motion. Okay, so this is that viscous force. This actually opposes that relative motion of liquid between two layers. And the similarities are, this is related to that relative motion, this is opposing that relative motion, and this is in between two layers. These are the similarities, but there is some differences in between this frictional force and this viscous force. So before that we should know about one term that is known as the gradient. So one term this is used is velocity gradient. Gradient, this term is actually coming from the gradual, successive. So gradual, there is no sudden change, the gradual change, changing with a constant rate. So if we have one layer, this is different layers of liquid, and the velocity of this is v, and the velocity of the second layer, this is, let's say, v plus delta v, v minus delta v, because it is decreasing. And obviously the next layer will be, that is v minus 2 delta v. So this delta v, this is in the decreasing order. And the distance between two layers, let's have, this is a delta x. Okay, so the total distance is x, and we are just segmenting, we are divided this part from center to that upper edge or the lower edge of that tube. So let us have that tube. So this is that tube, and in the lower part also, these are in the different layers. And if this velocity is v, which is the maximum one, this is maximum at the center, and here this is v minus delta v. So this will be also v minus delta v. This is v minus 2 delta v. So the rate of decrease of this velocity, this is constant, and it is constant with that position. It is independent of time. It's not related to time. Actually, whenever we calculate that, we just calculate the rate of change in velocity, rate of change in that momentum of light term. So whenever we talk about rate, then we divide that parameter with time. But here, this is change in velocity, this is with position. So when we are just moving from a center to this edge, that surface of that tube, then its velocity is decreasing with a constant rate. So this velocity gradient, this is actually equal to del v by del x. So this is change in velocity with position from one layer, that maybe preferably is a central layer, to from center towards edge of tube. So if you are thinking about this special case of that tube, so then this change in velocity with position, this is known as velocity gradient. And since it is decreasing, so mostly it is taken as with minus sign. So this is minus del v by del x when we move from this center part too. So the frictional force, now we will talk about that force, and that force is related to mostly force. The concept of force is related to Newton. So here again we will talk about Newton's theory related to that viscous force. So according to Newton's Newton, the viscous force in between two layers of liquid flowing with, remember this, there is no turbulence flow. This is streamline flow, flowing with streamline. So this force F, it is directly proportional to that rate of change of, sorry, this is the velocity gradient. So this F, it is proportional to this velocity gradient. Do not use rate of change. Rate is relative time. So this is directly proportional to velocity gradient. This is also proportional, this force, this is also proportional to area of surface, area of that interlayer area. So this is area of contact, one can, so this is area of contact of two layers of liquid. This is velocity gradient. So as a whole, we can write this F. So this F is proportional to A del phi by del x. We will use now one constant. So this F, this is with a constant, it is represented by this eta. This is A del phi by del x. And here we will use one minus sign because that velocity is decreasing from center layer to that upper part, where eta is known as viscosity coefficient. So F is viscous force, and you can represent that viscous force by Fv, Fc, whatever notations you can use, but generally force is F. So this is F. F depends on area of interlayer surface, area between and that is in contact, and that the velocity gradient dv by dx. And this minus sign, this is because of that it is decreasing rate, decreasing with position. So this is the minus sign, and one viscosity coefficient eta we are using here. So before this viscosity coefficient, we should know about this viscosity. What is this viscosity? Because this is viscosity coefficient, so we should know about this viscosity. So viscosity, this is the property of material. Viscous force is the force, but when we are talking about that viscosity, this is the property of materials, and where viscosity is the property of liquid or material, liquid or fluid, I should write. Fluid. This actually contains the gas as well as liquid. So this is the property of fluid, which by virtue of which viscous force is applied in between two layers two layer to oppose the relative motion. So this is interatomic property. This is also the interatomic intermolecular property. This is interatomic or intermolecular property. So this viscosity, this is the property of a liquid by virtue of which it actually enables that liquid to apply that viscous force in between two layers, and that viscous force that opposite to the relative motion of that liquid in between two layers. So obviously that depends on the density. If more dense, more viscous. Just you can think, the flow of water, flow of oil, flow of honey. If that liquid is thicker, means if density is more, that the rate of flow, it is decreasing. It's moving slowly. Why? Because in between two layers, viscous force is more. Means that is more viscous. Viscosity is more. Okay, that kerosene oil, it's less viscous with compared to water. Water is less viscous with compared to honey or any other oil. Glycerin is more viscous. So more viscous means more dense means more viscous. More dense means interatomic force is more. If the interatomic force is more, that will be more viscous. If any, by using with effect of any physical property, if that density is decreasing, means viscosity is decreasing in liquid. For example, when we just raise the temperature of any liquid like oil or glycerin, its viscosity will decrease because it is expanding. Interatomic force is decreasing. That's why it's a viscosity will decrease. Okay, so these are that property, and that is known as the viscosity, and this coefficient eta, this is known as viscosity coefficient, and here this F, this depends on this area and this rate of velocity gradient. So according to this, now we can compare this frictional force with this viscous force. There, that frictional force, this only depends on the normal draw. I think what we have done, this is that the force, so this is the normal, and this is mz, like this. It independent on the area. It is not depends on that area and this type of terms. So it only depends on that. But here, this also depends on area. Here it depends on the nature of the surface. If it's more rough, frictional force will be more. But here, this depends on area as well as its velocity, relative velocity. It is independent of relative velocity. No relative velocity is here. But this depends on the relative velocity with time, with position. So these are the difference between that viscous force and the frictional force. Okay, so now by using this, we can calculate that eta, that viscosity coefficient. So this viscosity coefficient can be, so this eta can be written as equivalent to, just to transfer this, so this is force upon area multiplied by dV by dx. Now you can calculate the dimension, you can calculate its unit. So that the dimension is equivalent to ml, this is t minus 2, this is area is L square, and what will be this? This is L t minus 1 velocity by L. Okay, this is the force ml t minus 2. This is area L square. This is dV by dx. dV by dx is equivalent to, this is velocity Lt inverse upon L. So what will be that dimension of this eta, and that is L is cancelled here. So this is ml minus 1. This is T minus 2. This is T1. So this is T inverse. Okay. And what's about that unit? So this is dyne in CGS. So in CGS and in SI unit. So in CGS, this is dyne and here dyne per centimeter square. 1 centimeter can be removed. So that velocity again, velocity is equal to one position can be changed here. So this is per centimeter square. Second is second inverse, like this. Just think about this. One position parameter will be here with velocity. Position can be cancelled. So here that will be the second inverse, and this is the area. So this is dyne per centimeter square. Second just one per is here. So yeah, second inverse. Okay. So one can write this is dyne second per centimeter square. I should write like this. Okay. And here this is Newton second per meter square. This is also known as poise. The unit, CGS unit of viscosity coefficient, this is poise. And in SI unit, this is deca-poise. Okay? And this is deca-poise, this is also known as Poiseuille. Bernoulli, de Broglie, this Poiseuille, Torricelli. So all these Lees are here. So this is Poiseuille. This just remember this deca-poise. This Poiseuille. Okay, so see this is Newton's law related to viscous force. Now, when just we are talking about this Poiseuille, so we should have one relation given by Poiseuille related to rate of flow of liquid. So Poiseuille's law. So this is that tube in which liquid is flowing with streamline motion. So the rate of flow of liquid dq by dt. It is related to radius of this tube, viscosity. Here now we have introduced that viscosity coefficient. So the viscosity and length of tube and the pressure difference. Pressure difference between two ends. So according to Poiseuille's, let's check the spelling of this part. Poiseuille's law. The flow rate of a liquid in a tube, in a horizontal tube, here I should write horizontal tube. This is the limitation, horizontal tube. This is the limitation of this law. This is only applicable for horizontal tube. If that tube is bent, this will not be applicable. So in the horizontal tube, that rate of flow, how much of that liquid is flowing through that per unit time. So that rate of flow, this depends on first the length of tube length of tube L, radius of tube R, viscosity of liquid eta, and pressure difference So pressure difference between 2 points, any of that 2 points. If you want to calculate that rate of flow in between these, then the pressure difference between these 2 points. So this is represented by Q, and one can calculate this relation by using that dimensional formula, dimension method. We have discussed in first unit. By using that dimensional method, we can correlate different physical parameters. So here this rate of flow, this is Q, this can be correlated with this L, R, eta, and that pressure difference, and that is equal to, so this is pi P R to the power 4 multiplied by 8 eta L. So this is the pressure difference, this is the radius, this is L, and this is eta. So you have to memorize this. So this is pi by 8. P is the pressure difference, R is the radius of this tube, L is the length, and eta is that. So more viscous, flow rate will be less. This is only proportional to this. Okay. One more parameter, physical term, that is known as Reynolds number. This is also introduced in the, this liquid flow, that is known as Reynolds numbers. Reynolds number. So this Reynolds number is, obviously the number means this is the dimensional in quantity. So this is dimensionless quantity which roughly, not exactly, roughly predicts or defines the nature of flow as streamline or turbulence. So that flow of liquid is whether turbulence or streamline. This can be defined by using predicted by using its Reynolds number. So that Reynolds number, this depends on density of liquid, viscosity, velocity of liquid, and diameter of the pipe. So this depends on 4 parameters. Density of liquid, let us use this density of liquid is rho. Viscosity coefficient, that is obviously eta. The velocity of liquid, let us take this as a v, and this dimension of pipe, that is d. So this RV or R, just it is proportional to that the velocity, this is rho, v, and d by eta. Everywhere that eta it is in denominator, this is inversely related. So if this R, it is less than 2000, if this R is less than 2000, then the flow is streamline. in a calculation, end of calculation, this R it is less than 2000, then this is streamline flow. If this R it is greater than 3000, then the flow is turbulence. So what's about in between? If it's less than 2000, then this flow is streamline, and if it is greater than 3000, then this is turbulence flow. So if it is in between these 2000 and 3000, then that system is unstable. Sometimes that flow is a turbulence flow, sometimes that flow is a streamline flow. So the flow is unstable. So flow is unstable. Okay. So we have a simple term that is some more term related to this. So Paisley's method lies there, that gives that rate of flow in the pipe, and here this defines that that flow is turbulence or streamline depending on this number. If this is less than this, then this is streamline. If it's greater than 3000, then this is turbulence. पानी तो देखा सी. Now this is that water column, and if one spherical ball, it is dropping from the top of that water column. So what is the observation? Initially its velocity is more, and after some instant of time its velocity become constant. And that constant velocity, this is known as the terminal velocity. So when a spherical ball of radius r is dropped in a liquid column or liquid column of viscosity eta. Initially it is accelerating due to its own weight. So obviously the ball has mass, it will have its own weight, and after some time it moves with constant velocity v. This is known as terminal velocity. So this is known as terminal velocity. So that the water drop or that rain drop, the velocity of that rain drop up to a particular height, it's constant, then that is the terminal velocity. So if the size of that water drop is bigger, the velocity is not a terminal velocity, it is just accelerating. If that water drop, the size of that water drop is sufficiently small, then that flow, that velocity, that may be that terminal velocity. So when Stokes lies there related to this spherical bodies, spherical that is ball, that is spherical water drop, rain drop, and that according to that Stokes law, that viscous force F, this is proportional to that size of ball. If the size is bigger, then force will be more, and this is also proportional to that viscosity coefficient. Okay, so this F is proportional to R, F is also proportional to eta, and this F, this is also proportional to this V. V is the terminal velocity. That's why I have introduced terminal velocity first. So this terminal velocity, that's constant velocity on that water column, and this V, F is proportional to V, this F is also proportional to eta, and F is proportional to R. So simultaneously we can write this F, it is proportional to eta R V, and with a constant, what we can write, this F, it is equivalent to one constant here, that is 6 pi is used. So this 6 pi eta R multiplied by V, this is due to Stokes' law. So this is Stokes' law of viscosity. Stokes' law. Okay, so why this terminal velocity is setting? So if this is that ball of radius r, it's moving down this water column. So we can just think about different forces applied. So here it's a wet mg. Mg is in the downward direction. It's a force of buoyancy because it is dropping inside that liquid. The force of buoyancy, that is P. And since it is moving inside that liquid, then one viscous force F is also here. So this that constant velocity, this is because of that equilibrium force in between this. So the sum of these two, this is equivalent to mg. So if this F plus B is equivalent to mg, then that viscous that terminal velocity can be. And one can calculate this force of buoyancy mg, and this F is equal to 6 pi eta R multiplied by V. This is F. Force of buoyancy, this depends on that density. Let's say the density of this liquid is sigma, and the density of this ball is rho. So this is equal to, that is, the volume is 4 pi by 3 R cube multiplied by the density, that is the density of this liquid. This is sigma multiplied by z. This is the force of buoyancy. So the force of that force FC, F is equal to 6 pi eta R multiplied by V, and force of buoyancy, that is the volume, 4 pi by 3 R cube. This is the volume multiplied by density of this liquid, that is sigma multiplied by z. This is the force of buoyancy, and that weight W, it is equivalent to 4 pi by 3 R cube sigma multiplied by z. So this F plus B, it is equivalent to mg. I just to write W. So this 6 pi eta RV plus 4 pi by 3 R cube sigma z is equal to 4 pi by 3 R cube rho z. One can calculate velocity here. That terminal velocity can be calculated. So just calculate terminal velocity V. So this is equal to 4 pi by 3 R square rho multiplied by sigma multiplied by z. Just we are transferring, I am transferring this toward this, upon 6 pi eta R V. Okay, so this is 2 by 9 R square. Why I am writing here? Cube 6 pi, this is cube. Okay, so this is R square rho sigma multiplied by z on eta. Okay, so this is the terminal velocity. Okay, so I think this Stokes' law and that terms related to viscosity, this is over. So in the next class we will discuss about surface tension. Thank you.